You are holding a child, maybe your own, maybe a younger sibling, maybe a neighbor's baby passed into your arms for just a moment. And in that moment, without thinking, your body does something automatic. Your arms tighten slightly. Your voice drops to a softer register. Your eyes scan the room for anything sharp, anything dangerous, anything that could hurt this small human in your hands. You did not learn this. Nobody taught you. It arrived fully formed, installed somewhere deep inside your nervous system long before you were born. That instinct is ancient, and the real story of how it kept children alive is far stranger than you think. For most of human history, childhood was the most dangerous time of life. Not adolescence, not old age, the first 5 years. Archaeologists studying ancient burial sites have found that in some prehistoric communities, nearly half of all children did not survive to adulthood. Half. Think about that number. 1 out of every 2 children born into a hunter-gatherer band would be dead before their 5th birthday. Disease, predators, accidents, starvation, exposure to cold. The world was not built for small bodies with fragile immune systems and no understanding of danger. And yet here you are, the descendant of every child who survived. Every ancient infant who made it through those first 5 years left a genetic thread that eventually led to you. Which means the strategies your ancestors used to keep children alive were not optional. They were the difference between a lineage that continued and one that ended in silence. So how did they do it? How did ancient humans keep children alive in a world with no hospitals, no vaccines, no formula, no pediatricians, no safety standards? The answer begins with something so fundamental that modern parents do it without knowing why. Skin contact. The moment a baby is born, the instinct across almost every human culture ever studied is the same. Place the infant directly against the mother's skin. Not in a crib, not wrapped in cloth set aside. Against the body, warm, breathing, alive. This is not sentiment, this is thermoregulation. A newborn human cannot regulate its own body temperature for the first weeks of life. It is the only mammal on Earth that cannot. A newborn deer can walk within hours. A newborn chimp can cling to its mother's fur. A human newborn can do almost nothing. It is, in the language of evolutionary biology, the most helpless infant of any species on the planet. And that helplessness is not a flaw. It is a feature. The human brain grows so large so fast that babies must be born early before the skull becomes too wide to pass through the birth canal. They arrive unfinished, dependent, requiring constant external warmth, nutrition, and protection to survive. The anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hardy spent decades studying what she called cooperative breeding, the way humans, unlike almost any other primate, raise children not just through the mother and father, but through an entire network of caregivers, grandmothers, aunts, older siblings, unrelated adults in the band who would carry, feed, soothe, and protect infants that were not their own biological children. Hardy's research showed that this network, which she called alloparenting, was not a backup system. It was the primary system. The human child was never meant to be raised by 2 people. It was meant to be raised by a village. This is why your child instinctively reaches for other adults. This is why babies calm down when passed to a grandmother, even if they have never met her before. The nervous system of a human infant is calibrated to recognize the presence of multiple warm bodies as safety. A baby alone with only one caregiver registers something ancient as wrong, not because the one caregiver is insufficient in the modern sense, but because in the ancient world, one caregiver usually meant the group had scattered, which usually meant danger. But the group could only do so much, because the ancient world did not wait. Infection was the great killer. Without antibiotics, without antiseptics, without any understanding of germ theory, a small cut on a child's foot could kill within days. A fever could become fatal in hours. Ancient humans had no way to know why illness happened, but they developed an extraordinary array of responses to it, built entirely from observation, trial, error, and accumulated knowledge passed down through generations. Ethnobotanist Paul Allen Cox spent years documenting the medicinal plant knowledge of traditional cultures and found something remarkable. Across societies that had no contact with each other, separated by oceans and continents, ancient humans had independently discovered many of the same plants for the same purposes. Willow bark, which contains salicin, the compound modern science later purified into aspirin, was used to reduce fever in ancient Egypt, in Native American communities, in ancient China, and across